feel like we're on a movie set.
We're ready right now?
Yeah, you're live. Go for it.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on the Owwll App. Welcome to Funding Fridays. We're back after a little bit of a summer hiatus. We're back from going back to school today and getting back to funding and learning about what it is that entrepreneurs need in order to get to the next level of what they're trying to do with raising capital and building their businesses. And over the past few months that I've been working with Jason Hill on the Owwll App, I brought in people here who are experts in their industry. And it is remarkable to see how far Jason has brought this app right now, especially with the interactivity of this. It makes it that much more easier today, and it democratizes a lot of the leadership and mentorship I think we need today. We were talking about this before the show. My name is Salvatore Buscemi is what I go on the LinkedIn. And I am here. I started my career doing investment banking at Goldman Sachs in the late 90s. And today I co-manage a family office with my partner, Albert Ewan, and we invest into very high conviction names, making direct private investments into earlier stage companies. We've done that for about 10 years right now. We've had many exits. We're expecting a few more now coming up. But right now we're pivoting into real estate for some reasons. For some of those real estate people that are out there, I'll be able to answer your questions on that. That is something that I really like. But I want to introduce my co-host here, which is amazing. Ron, I've known for a while. We've met at conferences, but we just got reunited through here. You lead the Florida Ventures Forum, right?
I'm on the board of that.
Yeah, you're on the board of that. Correct. Yeah. Please, Ron Tarro, please.
Yeah, I'm the president of New World Angels, which is a longstanding angel syndicate. It's basically bunch of high net worth Floridians that are basically putting early money into startups. So my interest is in all you crazy types that actually think you want to start a company and need that first round of we'll call it institutional or professional financing. My background is I married the state. I'm from Minnesota originally, and basically have run a software company here with an exit, and then turned myself into an angel. So my big thing is I like early stage founders. Jason, who started this channel, I've known for a long time because I was his advisor in getting the things stood up, the Owwll App, etc. So, been around for a long time in the state of Florida.
And you know what? We've also had 10,000 downloads of the app too, and that's amazing. That's a tremendous accomplishment. Woo! Congratulations, Jason. All right, Ron, I appreciate that.
Roll, baby.
Yeah, Ron, that is amazing. Now we're at 10,001. Thank you. Thank you. Up next is someone who is new, but brings a tremendous amount of professionalism as it relates to working with the media, and someone who I've gotten to know over the past few months that I've gotten to trust and learn a lot about as it relates to how to put together good branding and how to put yourself in the best way possible when working with people. I can't tell you how many times you go to these events, Ron, and you see people and they're not put together well, right? There's no essence of branding. There's really nothing there as it relates to the media. But there's also people don't communicate well either. And so we need to bring in people
journalists.
Journalists and investigative journalists. Yes.
Yes.
And that's the most important part, is because the words today matter. We didn't know this until I think maybe the last election, when people were getting all upset over certain words. But words do matter, and that does matter about how you convey yourself. Jennifer Eckhart is nationally known. She's let you talk about your experience, but you are illustrious. You are you have your own podcast where you have
Are you introing me, or am I?
No, I'm introing you.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you do that. Okay. I know you don't like to talk about yourself. So I'm gonna go into this. But
I focus on the subject of my subject matter.
She has a podcast called, which is absolutely amazing, which is top ranked. Tell us a little bit more about that, Jennifer.
So first off, thank you, Sal, for that introduction and for letting me be the Paula to your Simon Cowell today, if you will. Thank you. Sal handles the ROI. I handle the OMG factor. And what I mean by that is, like, did you like that one? Ron laughed. He's the balance sheet. I'm the highlight reel. So, but seriously, thank you for having me. From an early age, I dreamt of being a TV journalist. I'm a natural born storyteller. We were just sharing on Instagram Live that I don't like talking about myself on my show. I really make it about the guests that I have on, and it's called REINVENTED with Jen Eckhart. It's nationally syndicated, and I interview a lot of influential business leaders and celebrities, and also just regular, people from all walks of life who have incredible comeback tales of reinvention, whether it's personally or professionally. And I think today's world, and especially in our society, we're longing for stories of hope as opposed to what the mainstream media is putting out there. Even though they are, important, I think this has been by far one of the most profound, fulfilling endeavors I've ever experienced. So,
Could you drop some of the names of people you've interviewed?
you want me to name drop?
I mean, I know I'm not on one
Funding
of the
Fridays. Yeah, I can name drop. I can also mic drop, Sal. Okay, let's start with maybe he's watching on Instagram Live. He follows me, Brett Favre, NFL Hall of Fame quarterback. No big deal. Maybe Billy Corgan's on his tour bus, frontman of the Smashing Pumpkins. Love you, Billy. He's about to embark on a tour in Asia. Who else? Kathy Ireland. Sal had a poster of Kathy Ireland probably in his college dorm. Or Ron,
probably
one of you.
Probably.
I did
probably
not.
Me.
I've had her on. I'm trying to think. My first guest was Grammy Award-winning singer songwriter Sean Paul. We did it live from Jamaica, and we actually did it this way. We recorded it on an iPhone.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then obviously before that, I spent nearly a decade at Fox News, national network, straight out of college, just like Sal. Sal went straight to the top to Goldman Sachs.
So
fresh out of
If I were to
school.
summarize this, you were one of the cool kids, and I was the tech.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But hold on.
Major.
Let me
I was
reverse
the
that.
major.
Let me reverse
Yeah.
that. Reverse Uno. So you then became the cool guy that girls like me call and want on their show. Because while at the Fox Business Network, I covered the tech sector extensively. I spent a lot of time on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. So you would probably be the expert I'd talk to. Yeah.
Oh, I feel better now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh wow.
It was hard for a while there in high school.
It was hard. Yeah, I mean, obviously Jennifer, excelled in that. So that's amazing. Jennifer, when we're I don't know if I gave you much prep before this. Obviously, it was a crash course before we went there, but a lot of the people who are calling in are people who are starting companies. And I think one of the reasons why you would add so much value to this is because of the messaging. Yeah. And I remember you were actually helping me with a monologue. Remember that we put it together for.
You're sharing that publicly?
Deals. I'm sharing that publicly. You were like reading it and you're like, this is not correct.
This is trash.
This is trash. And you know what? You had a little chutzpah to it,
I'm like the Miranda Priestley of journalism. I'm like, florals for spring, groundbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing.
Ron's cracking up. That's all I care about.
I don't get it, actually.
Oh, you haven't seen the movie The Devil Wears Prada?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
I don't remember the line.
That's the line.
I
just delivered the line.
She was a mean girl, just like Jen in high school, I'm sure. Anyway.
First of all, I was a floater. I didn't belong to any clique. And by the way, whoever's streaming live on my Instagram and who was friends with me in high school, or not, or follows me and is not friends with me from high school, wink, wink. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like when you get haters. Anyway, you will vouch that I was a floater and I was friends with everyone. I never subscribed to a clique. I was not a clique girl, but I was varsity cheerleading captain. Oh, and I was cool. What?
There we go.
I just sunk the ship.
I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun just letting Jen go. This is just amazing. This is great. Jen, what do you see? Like, I don't know if you talk to as many entrepreneurs, but when people aren't communicating correctly, right? What are some of the things that you helped me with my monologue that you added to it that was a little dry? Because coming out of, I think, and I'm not like this anymore, but you can see people who are like fresh out of like institutional America. They're trying to raise money and they sound very scripted and they're reading off of it. What are the things that you look at the most that you try to transition when working or seeing something, maybe the mess that I put together before you made it pretty?
Well, first of all, I had to make it yours humorous, right? Okay. That's why we've been laughing. We've been sitting here 5 minutes and Ron is like peeing his pants laughing. He can't even stand it.
Did not.
So
yet.
But listen, you gotta read the room, which you did very well, by the way. Mm-hmm. You have to read the room. You have to know your audience. But you have people connect. People like to laugh. People like to be humorized. But I can't tell you. You mentioned, and I have spoken and interviewed and produced segments for a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, if we also want to name drop Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, the list goes on and on. you have to think like a journalist. Like, is your story timely? Is it relevant? Is it unique? Does your business value prop? Does it, does it pertain to current news of the day? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I can't tell you how many pitches I received to my inbox. Well, I worked at the highest levels of national media and I just ignored. But if I saw something that had a unique hook or a pitch to it, and I found a way to sort of marry that with what's happening in the news, that was an instant booking job for me.
Let me do an exclamation point on that,
Sure.
because as an investor and you're looking at a founder that comes in a room, and what you think to yourself, having run a business before, is you've got to convince somebody to invest in you. You have to convince employees to join you. You have to convince customers to, in effect, buy your products, and then keep it all rolling. And if you don't have the ability to communicate that very effectively, you're kind of done. There's the message, but there's also your ability to articulate something.
But the worst thing you can do is pitch a journalist like they're a venture capitalist. Money talks to VCs, but value talks to journalists. So if I see value in your headline, aka ratings, that's what we care about. I say we as in I'm the media. I left corporate media a while ago, but I was a part of it for a decade.
Yeah.
But that's what we're thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
So the headline should be, "You won't believe what."
Well, look, national press isn't about ego. It's about leverage. One good headline can warm up 100 cold calls. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Same with writing emails too. A lot of people send emails and they have the subject lines. You just don't want to open them. But
yeah, or you love the standard. This is a great one. I actually spoke about this while on a panel next to. Name drop. I'm such a name dropper. This is not
It's exciting though.
it's exciting.
I'm
Keep going.
sorry. I feel I sound like such a.
No, you bring a panache to the Owwll app that we desperately needed.
I think
right?
hopefully people will resonate and understand. But I spoke about this on a panel to entrepreneurs next to Gerard Baker, who I believe is still the current editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. And I said, don't send the standard copy and paste pitch emails. If you ever want your business to, make national news, don't you know how it's like, hi, XXXX, comma, and then sometimes they're too lazy to even put in your name.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how hundreds of pitches I've received
Ronald,
that way.
not Ron, but
Right. You gotta personalize it and really tailor it to snag their attention. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's that annoys me with emails when I get invited to these conferences. It's like, dear colleague, we are pleased. I'm like, you're pleased?
Yeah. I hope this email finds you in hell. Like, really? Or I hope this email finds you well. I hope this email finds you on a beach, healing.
People, they don't want to, and I think like people are scared to use humor too, to a point, because they don't want to be seen as being offensive, and if they don't feel comfortable
Sal,
with
it's
it.
2025 though.
I know it is. People need
Are
to
we
grow up.
politically correct anymore? I think people can be humorous again.
I think we can too, but I think certain people are kind of sensitive to that.
Okay.
They're still,
I get that.
if you're not a professional celebrity or personality like you, Jennifer, it's really, cheerleading captain and all.
Hey, Sal, everyone, Sal wrote a book. He actually three books. Buy his book. It's called Investing Legacy. Go to Salvatore. Look at me giving you free marketing. I'm going to be sending you an invoice after this ends. Buy Sal's book. He autographed it not once but twice for me. That's a story for a different day.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. All right. We are making me available to take calls right now. Jason has hit the switch. Producer Stephanie, we're going to be accepting some calls right now. Please call in. We'd love to hear about what you have to say. I think it's been great. Fundraising's back. I think the fundraising season ends probably for me the beginning of December, right, Ron? Like things just slow down a little bit there. People are skiing. You have the Judeo-Christian holidays, and then that becomes the running excuse until the end of the year. What do you think?
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know that it's in angel and early stage. It's not quite as cyclical, because most of the people that are investors in New World all have other hustles.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
a lot of it is, where's your diligence at? We will start diligence. We may not write the check till January. But,
Okay.
Actually, where we get a little sleepy would be midsummer, because so many of our members are Floridians, which is the tax definition of a Floridian is 365 divided by 2 plus 1. And so how do you avoid New York taxes and live in Florida? So a lot of them are up north and doing their thing.
Oh, we got a call right now from Meredith Murdoch. Meredith, welcome to Funding Fridays on the Owwll app. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
You are live in front of a studio audience. LinkedIn, Jennifer Eckhart's Instagram. She's got millions of followers.
And my LinkedIn, apparently. Aren't
And
we streaming on
LinkedIn, too.
LinkedIn?
We're
We're streaming on my LinkedIn, y'all.
Meredith, how can we help you today?
I am a founder and I
Okay.
have a question. I'm going through angel investor syndicates right now, and there's a lot of terminology that I would like some clarity on.
Okay.
Specifically, the differences, the strengths, and the weaknesses between safe notes and convertible notes.
Okay. I'll give you, Ron, you go into this and then I'll give my punchline on it. Okay. This is a great, Meredith, thank you for this question. Ron, this is the perfect question for you, angel investor, right here.
I'll speak on behalf of New Owwll Angels and my angel buddies. If you come at us with a safe, you've hit a big headwind, and it's less likely we'll ever invest in you. There's also a joke if you kind of go in this world, which would be, how do you know if somebody's been to a business incubator? They ask for a safe note. So for those of you who don't know what a safe note is, safe note
Is it the same as a safe word?
No.
Sorry.
simple.
Jennifer.
Sorry. Everyone's laughing.
It's a family show,
I
Jennifer.
hear laughs.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's called a simple agreement for future equity. What it basically is you and I are going to sign a contract. And it's a contract. I'm going to give you some cash. And then you promise someday to give me some stock. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons it's not a great idea. And probably the biggest one from an investor, it's not investor friendly, is investors, when they invest in you, want what's called preferred stock, which would be the moment I get stock in your company, I actually have legal protections. The state has laws about LLCs and C corps in whatever state you register in. So an investor can be protected. The other part of that is when an investor is a shareholder, they have a voice. And so, especially when you're early, we're investing in you. You might be new at this. It's quite a headwind. There's a middle ground here, something called a convertible debt instrument, which is basically debt. And that's an option if you have some equity value in the company, like lots of patents or something like that, we might consider it. But listen, for serious institutional, it's going to be pretty hard. You're going to get pushed pretty quickly into equity. I want stock for my investment in you.
Yeah. I think the safe note, I think there's I think everybody today, they're founders, and I'm not talking about you specifically, Meredith, because you're doing your research, but a lot of them will just go to a lawyer and be like, oh, you want a safe note? And then they pull it off a shelf. But it doesn't help the investors because a safe note is open-ended, whereas a convertible, like in some of our deals, they need to be extended. The date needs to be extended sometimes. Investors want to see that there's a date, even though it's going to probably be pushed back. They want to see that there's some sort of finite term there. On the other side of it, the convertible is actually, and we like it because as far as you are as a founder, you don't have, it's really someone loaning you money. So you don't have to file a K-1 or you have to go through the normal taxations. It's more like something is a relate. And again, I'm not an attorney or an accountant, nor am I, qualified to render accounting or legal
But you
advice.
worked at Goldman Sachs.
Well, I mean, look, that only gets you so far.
So
but,
spreadsheets.
I know spreadsheets really well and capital structure really well. And that's really, my jam. However, when you're working with investors, you want to mitigate the expenses as much as possible. And you don't want to have to sit there and tell them, you don't want to have to give them a K-1 because that's going to cause,
K-1 is a tax.
It's a tax.
That means your investor is paying taxes.
Correct.
Right. No, I understand that.
Yeah. So
the K-1s are only with the convertible notes?
No, just without the convertible notes. That's just if you're getting equity or preferred equity. And,
Okay.
if you have a guy on your team like Ron, who's professionally who does this, you want to give him equity. But if it's like a brother-in-law who you don't know very well, who's not in the game, and you give him control of your business, you're looking for a very high-profile divorce.
Got it.
Does that make sense? I don't know if you have a brother-in-law or not, but, a lot of these guys, Ron, and we talked about this, they like to a lot of these guys, they come into our deals and they're like, yeah, I want to write a check for like 50 grand. I think this is great. Meanwhile, we already have 6.3 in it. And I said, okay. He goes, I want to be active. I want to be on this. I'm like, no. I'm like, just because you're unhappily married doesn't necessarily mean you have to mess up our happy deal. All right, stay away from it. This founder
he's used that line before, by the way.
It's true. It is true, because you get a lot of these guys and they have nothing better to do, but they get their, some of them are retired accountants and lawyers, and those are people you don't want to have really having too much equity. Ron, that's like the pragmatic way of looking at the world. Let's say,
yeah, I mean, there's something else too, is you have to, as a founder, you have to manage what's called your cap table, which is basically all of your investors.
Right.
And when you do that, if you have 122 investors that all gave you $1.98, your life is going to be unpleasant. So a lot of, like, when New World comes in, we come in what's called with an SPV. We take all of our investors, we create an LLC, a little company with all our money, put it in one pot. Then we come into your cap table as a single entry. And you want to pay attention to that, because that's quite an expense. Is if you advance the company further and further down the road, trying to clean that up is really not a lot of fun, and you'll be forced to clean it up at some point in time. So again, you have to do what you have to do to get money into the company. But if you have a lot of little investors trickling their way in, it's an angel syndicate or something like that might be better if you can get their attention.
Yeah, I think so.
Shall I share my journalist perspective briefly?
Please do, Jennifer.
Okay.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
every founder should have two pitches, in my view, one for investors and one for journalism. They're not the same. Investors bet on traction, journalists bet on stories. Smart founders deliver both. That's all I have to add to that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. Even I learned something today with that.
Wow.
That's important.
You can write it in your journal later.
Meredith, how does that answer your question? Do you think maybe you should get with some angel groups here? I would not go with a safe note. Same thing with us. We've seen a lot of biotech deals come in with safe notes, and we're just like, sorry, I can't do anything. It's just,
Okay.
yeah.
And
can't.
how do they figure out future equity? Like, how does that work?
I mean, that's a
I'm
negotiation.
in the science.
Right?
I'm in the sciences, so this is all brand new to me.
No, sure. Ron, what would you? I mean, that's more or less a negotiation on the size of the check and control.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
So
it's not so much a formula.
Right.
So
okay.
you're going to have. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to look at this. Let's see. Let me describe it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Is an investor is going to come in, and your first money, your early money, always takes larger percentages of your company than later, because the money's holding the cards more than you are. You need to get your customers and get the products and stuff like that. They're going to be watching what percentage of the company that they own, right? And also the terms, but just ignore that for a second. And that really comes down to then establishing a value of the company. So the question is, how do you set a value that you can both agree on? And so I would recommend some sort of bottoms up math. And again, this is one of those, like, I used to be told in math class, show your work. There's no answer. But the answer would be is if every person who owns a garage gets one of these for $5, you count up the number of garages in the world and multiply times 5. And that's going to be your revenue story. That's going to be your market. And then what's your penetration? And you basically say, hey, this is how this is going to lay out. And you basically establish a value of the company based on your ability to bring a product into the marketplace or a technology. The other thing you have to be thinking about is when you get an investor is investing in you, and then they want to get out, right? You may want this to be your lifetime business. The investor wants out at some point. And so the way to think about that is, it's not what the value is theoretically. It's basically 5 years from now, I'll be optimistic that we can get out in 5. So let's suppose in 5 years, it's all going to be about what's the value of the company in 5 years. But here's the extra trick. I'm making up the 5-year number, but the person who's going to exit you, meaning they're going to buy the company, they're going to look out 5 years, right? And say, is this thing going to be valuable 5 years out, even more valuable? So as an angel or something, you need to have a story that says, I can see this valuable for 10 years, right? In increasing value. So it's just a mental thing, which is, hey, how much, what's your product? What are its possible uses? And, what's its possible markets, add it all up, and then show your work to an investor, and they can disagree, and you can arm wrestle from there.
Yeah, no, I think it's right. Meredith, did we answer your questions?
You did. You did.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
so
much.
much. Good luck. Thank you, Meredith. Thank
All
you.
right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Perfect. Yeah, that was great. I think a lot of people get caught up in the minutia and they take cheap free advice. And I can't tell you, and I see this in real estate all the time. Like they use the same documents, especially for like multifamily, and they copy and paste, and they forget to do the control F replace. They don't.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the properties in Arkansas. Yeah.
Paragraph.
Yeah.
Joe. Yeah.
I'm like, where did this come from? Like, honestly, if it's one thing you don't want to cut corners on, but Chat GPT and AI has made it easier. You have all investment banks right now. You're able to put out a whole S1 filing, now like 90% of the
You
way.
can also earn a law degree,
You
kind
can.
of.
You did that, don't you?
No, I did not,
okay.
Sal.
I
What
mar-
are
I
you
married one.
saying?
You married a law degree.
You married a lawyer, a
She's
law
tech
degree.
lawyer, too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For
That's a
startups.
match made in angel investor heaven.
I always say, any mistake I make, she spins me out into my own LLC, and that's the end of it.
That's it. And then you're done. I love it.
Did your wedding cake have a ticker symbol on top?
It did not, but it was known that we were business oriented.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
It was a merger.
It was a
It was a
merger.
merger. It was a
acquisition.
tech merger. It was a
an
major
M&A.
tech merger.
It was a merger of balance sheets. That's usually what.
Sal makes sure that you get the funding. I make sure that you don't sound like you're reading the back of a cereal box while asking for the funding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, back in the day, it's interesting because a lot of these guys, when the .com was around, there were a lot of people, very entrepreneurial females, and what they would do is they would take these founders who weren't, who were .com, and all they did was sit behind a laptop and eat donuts,
Yeah,
right?
on some spectrum.
Yeah, on some spectrum.
Hey,
yeah.
I brought donuts
Hey,
here.
hey, no, this is like not every day. We're talking, that's Funding Fridays, and we appreciate that.
It's also Donut Friday, but go on.
Guys that didn't know how to dress, right? I mean, you're wearing like muscle shirts, and finally, these people would get like $50,000 to be able to train these young CEOs to be able to sit in front of someone to not scare off an institutional investor during a roadshow. And the story.
Are we doing that?
No, I mean, I think there could
No.
be. I think there could be a good market for that. I think there is. But I
No,
mean,
it's like I said before.
Yeah.
It's in your points are very well taken, because there's always this argument in early stages investing. There's the horse, there's the rider, and the track, right?
Of course.
And which one's most important? And the answer is, it's like arguing religion or something. You'll never get an answer. But on the rider side of it, which is the founder, that person's ability to articulate
Yeah.
is a big, without showing,
Yeah.
without that just being fake.
the
face.
jockey.
Yeah, the jockey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, face doesn't work, shallowness
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yep.
You got to say sincerely educate an investor.
Journal and I
have punch, convincibility,
Yeah.
credibility, and
and I'll just piggyback off that. Journalists aren't ATM machines. You can't just withdraw
Oh,
coverage.
oh, we have someone coming on. You can't withdraw. Finish.
Let
that
me
site.
land this
Yeah.
plane.
Let me.
You can't just withdraw. There's a lot going on in this studio. You can't but you can't just expect coverage. You have to give them a reason to invest their attention. And I
Makes
think
sense.
that's,
You got to be perceptive. All right, we got another person here. Alex, how are you, my friend?
Jupiter.
Jupiter, Florida, CPA.
Hey,
How you
Sal,
doing?
what's going on?
Nice to meet you too. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Busy. How about
Yeah,
yourself?
good. We're about us. It's a long story, but it's getting better. It's a fun time here today on
Is
Funding
this a
Fridays.
multi-person call or?
Look at that. We have a lot of people on here. You are live right now on the Owwll app, also on LinkedIn and on the Instagram
And all of Jen's social media.
all of Jen's
accounts,
social media. So
apparently.
people are looking at you. What can we do for you?
Oh, I'm just very interested in. I just saw you on here, and I was just very interested in your profile. I was wanted to learn more about you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you know what? I'd love to give you a copy of my book if you want, Alex. Would you like that?
Shameless book plug
I would love to give you a copy. Hold it up, Jennifer. Thank you.
for the world to
Yeah.
see.
What are you working on right now? Are you an entrepreneur or are you just a doing,
Yes.
what do you?
I have a startup now, actually. So it's
Okay.
really going to be vamping up. I think we're about to be disrupting a whole industry.
What is it? Tell us about it.
He's in
Oh, I
stealth.
don't want to
He's
get
in
into
stealth
too many
mode.
details.
Okay. Well, thank you
But
for
all
calling
you need to
Funding
know
Fridays.
is in the debt solutions industry, and we're planning on disrupting the whole model.
Okay.
I like it.
Solutions. I like that. Well, when you can talk more about it, you should come back on the show.
Yeah, well, I want to bring my partner on and do it formally for sure. We'll definitely do that. Yeah, podcasting is always something I wanted to get into. Everyone tells me I have a radio voice.
You do, actually. I was thinking that as you were talking.
Yeah, I've been told that for
Well,
years, and I
so
never did.
here's how you listen. If you've got something at some point in time, if you're looking for investment, because disruption is usually a big thing, right?
Absolutely.
And disrupting means you're a David and Goliath story, typically. Is you're going to have to come at it from a funding standpoint. You're going to have to open up as to what you're doing. So a couple of just general thoughts. Venture capital folks like myself don't sign non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah, no.
Period, end of story. But like if you were to come at New World Angels, off our website, and you're going to have a pitch deck. You're going to have the word disruption described to say, hey, here's what I'm disrupting, and here's why. By the way, the people being disrupted won't like it. So tell me a little bit more about how you'll survive their reaction, if you will.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no, that's a good way of putting it. That's great. Sounds like you're in a car with windshield wipers moving right now.
Yeah, I was in a car
Yeah.
on the move right now, but yeah, I'll shut the windshield wipers off. There is just a huge storm here.
We got another call
But
coming
anyway,
up here. I appreciate it though.
We'll reconnect, and then I'll definitely keep you posted. I definitely want to keep the door open.
You got it.
Anything.
Sounds good, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for
Take
calling
care.
in.
Talk.
You got it. All right, cool. Yeah. NDAs. No. I can't tell you how many times people are like, sign this NDA. You know what Sal says? I can't say it on camera.
No, say it. Say it.
I'm like,
the
we're
women
not-
want to hear.
No, we just say
Say
we're not signing that. And I've seen so many people.
Good luck telling that to a multi-billion-dollar media giant, but go on.
No, well, that's different. But when you're dealing with first-time founders who don't know any
Sorry, I had
better, and they think that they have no numbers, they have nothing, they just have an idea. Like it's not worth talking.
Yeah, but there is such a thing as stealth mode where
Yeah, nobody invests in stealth or stealth.
Yeah.
Anything, enigmas.
Yeah.
Bernie Madoff kind of ruined that for everybody, right?
Yeah, and also I'll always avoid somebody who has the titles like chief. I'm not a CEO. I'm a chief
inspirational officer.
Inspirational officer.
I've seen that.
Wait.
I've seen that on LinkedIn, and it triggers me. I'm
Visionary.
Like, visionary.
Officer.
Visionary.
No,
Or no, I like this one. Futurist.
Yeah.
Aren't we futurist?
By
That's
the way,
No.
there's wisdom behind
yeah.
why that's a bad idea, which is creativity is the first 1%, and then 99% is the 5-year grind.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
That's
And
so
so-
true.
And so,
That's so true.
You can have a spark and you can grind this out. We're looking at somebody who's going to be able to grind this for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
What's the team look like, et cetera?
That's why we don't invest in first time founders. We do have a few of them. They're doing really, really well, but that's only for separate reasons that we got into because they had a lead investor leading into it. But yeah, you get the young, bright-eyed, white-eyed guys, girls are like, I'm a visionary. I'm going to change everything. And then
But we need those people. They're important. We need disruptors. We need to disrupt.
We do, but you
gotta have your.
It's more than a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
It's a slow burn. That's really what it is. It's a slow burn. Yeah, we also, I've heard a lot of people recently before things got a little tighter in the financing markets, but a lot of these entrepreneurs would go in there and they would take like $250,000 checks from like a Sand Hill Road Palo Alto fund, and we would never want to be embroiled with anything with that. And the reason is because with the families we look at, we're longer term. We've been in some deals already for like 6 years, right? These funds don't have any alignment of interest with any of your other investors on your cap table. And that's going to turn off a lot of sophisticated investors like Ron, myself, because they don't want to have all of a sudden wake up one day and all of a sudden, they have a gun to their head because they're forcing the founder to either refinance or do some sort of force some sort of liquidity on the CEO of the company when it's premature, and that's how things fail. So we're Very, very cognizant of that. And I think that's something a lot of people don't really pay attention to when they start talking to these names. So like, yeah, we have the big firms on Palo Alto and Sand Hill Road talking to us. And we don't like that because there's no alignment of interest right there. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone get squeezed like that, but it's.
Well, every B round and VC coming in is going to try to squeeze out the other investors, cram them down somehow.
Right.
That's just as a kind of this part of the story. You just have to protect your rights. It's interesting. One of the things when you look at founders, I was thinking about the titles.
Yeah.
And there's this thing that when you're very early, because we'll take a run at a first-time founder.
Okay.
But it's there's a couple things about the team you have to look at right away. Number one is any solo founder is a risk, right? Because you can get eaten by an alligator.
Taking notes.
No,
it's being recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And so
I was talking to the viewers and listeners, Sal. But go on. No, this is fascinating.
So, what you want is sort of like I'll call it a product team fit or a market team fit, where you got one technologist who can make stuff, and you've got a business person who can sell stuff. That is a much more de-risked company than it is me, myself, and I. And in fact, one of the cues you always look for is my company, I, me.
Yeah.
But you're always looking for that fit that says, yeah, I ran a bakery. Now I'm doing rocket fuel. It's like, no.
Hey, but those are the people I have on my Reinvented podcast show.
Yeah, but here's the deal: is like, okay, I have two questions about the rocket fuel. Then is who are you? Who are your advisors?
He's just multifaceted.
And,
he's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, but is he a good bet?
Yeah, that's true.
Is he a good bet? Is right.
Yeah.
But you hit on something that most teams don't have, and that is the salesmanship to be able to sell the business. And a lot of founders they shy away from that, as we said before. They just it's the critical component to it. When you look at any background, there's I think David Senra has this thing where he has podcasts on founders and billionaires on LinkedIn. And you look at Bill Gates, he sold his own product by himself. He had a team, he was responsible for everything at Microsoft, but he was calling and selling and pitching, and he was very, very, very persistent, but he was also very formulaic about it too.
Right.
And a lot of these founders don't do that. They just get upset because you don't like the idea. They can't, or you don't believe that they're going to be able to do that. We also shy away from husband and wife teams too.
So should I tell you that my wife was a co-founder of our company?
Yeah, I'm actually curious to hear your reasoning. Why is that? It sounds personal.
It's not.
Is it? Are you sure?
What?
No, exit. Also father-son teams.
Yeah.
Daughter,
Oh, I don't do the nepotism.
Yeah. No.
But I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
It's just, I think sometimes there's too many emotions and too many things at stake. And when it comes to the business or the emotion of marriage is always going to win out. And I've seen.
Is that kind of like when they said women shouldn't be in politics?
No.
They're too emotional, even though.
Well,
I know a lot of emotional men.
No, it's kind of like, we're not going to take the risk because we have a family, so we can't really bring this guy on for $120,000.
I get that.
That's
okay.
So the other side of this would be, my wife was a co-founder of a company. We ran it together for 14 years. Still married.
Let's go.
Now, does that mean, I do know because you ever watch us, but does that mean we agreed? More often than not, we didn't.
But it's important to challenge each other.
But from an investor standpoint, which is kind of where you're coming from, it's very hard because you're going to look at this and go, I don't want to buy dividend stock as an investor, meaning this is going to run for 40 years, and this family's going to hand it down to their grandkids, kind of thing. Well, no, this is
diminishing returns.
You're going after professional money has a window, right?
And you got to get out.
And mommy, daddies, and father, sons, and everything else like that. We have a lot of questions about exit.
Yeah. No,
would you guys agree with the theory?
We have a caller.
Oh, we have a caller.
Scott, welcome.
Scott, and mommy, daddies.
Yep. Sorry, I just had to pause the YouTube video. Sorry about that.
There you go. How are you today, Scott? Happy Friday. Happy Funding Friday.
All right. Sorry. So say that again. It was off speaker.
Scott, what can we do for you on Funding Fridays? Can you hear us, Scott? It's on his side. Scott's not working. Oh boy.
Oh, we hear.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Now we can hear you.
So this is my first time using this Owwll app.
Oh, welcome.
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 You must be
Thank
the
you.
10,001st.
He must have been the 10,000 and first download today. Anyway, Scott, we got a few
Yes.
minutes left. What can we do for you?
All right. So I noticed that I saw this on my YouTube feed yesterday that this was an event going on, and I have followed the Shrimp Tank Live ever since I went to an entrepreneur event last year because I'm an FAU alumni with the engineering school.
Okay.
And after graduating, instead of using my degree to go get a job, I started going with my startup that I founded while I was a student, which is a personal portable fan company. Because I noticed that there's all these little fans on everybody's stroller, golf carts, etc., but they're all kind of just generic junk that's out there. So we kind of wanted to develop the Yeti of that world. And after 2 years, we've now 3D modeled it and 3D printed it in my garage, patented, trademarked, gotten a website developed, and found a manufacturer. And now we have our live pre-sales going with our first 2,000 units in production. So we are at, I think, sale number 621 as this morning.
Oh, wow.
But we are just looking for some cash now to accelerate us and scale us into the brand we think we can achieve, which is a Yeti stained lead.
Hey, Solicit Eyelash Studios. The women listening know what I'm talking about.
Makes sense.
It's a good
The tech
market for
nerd does
you.
not know what she's talking
I
about.
know, but the women who are buying your portable fans do. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, actually, I tell you what. I mean, you're in a great place, right? Because it's very hard to get funding for. I have a vision for a fan, right? Here's my PowerPoint. You now have something. It looks like you have some, at least some limited production scale, and so it's the sort of thing like New World. We have a consumer products group, and it's folks that do have done. They're former CEOs of public companies of consumer products, and they understand what it takes to bring something forward. But they really want to be able to say, you already have in place a prototype product, and you've demonstrated take rates through various distribution channels. And so that the idea there is they're going to start squinting at you for how much marketing and all the customer acquisition cost numbers, and they'll start playing the numbers game on you. But you're positioned to have that conversation based on what you just described.
Yeah.
Where a lot of folks don't. The other thing, and it's really not for you, but I'll make this some more generic, is if you have products, and it could be not a consumer product like you described, but others, is anything that says, and then when I get big, I'm going to develop my own manufacturing facility. Most investors are going to go, really? Why are you going to do that? Right? Now, there may be reasons, but you should be very sensitive to, they're going to look for scale and manufacturing scale and quality and returns and stuff like that. So be careful on that. You have a good story on your manufacturing.
yeah, just a quick note on storytelling. Why should someone besides your mom care? Right? Like your mom's always going to say, you're so great. What a great product. But investors buy into the story first and spreadsheets second. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Where are you doing your manufacturing right now?
Right now we're based out of Shanghai for our main product. And then through actually a high school friend that I connected with on LinkedIn, we discovered that we're kind of in the same world, and we're now getting all of my accessories like centralized manufacturing in India.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to be the migratory wave, and some investors are going to want to ask, they're going to ask those questions.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get any money to invest into China, at least in venture anymore in the U.S. I would say this: one of the great interests in the venture world right now is next generation manufacturing. So the idea you have additive manufacturing, the 3D printer, for lack of a better description, but the idea that you can tap into domestic or supply chains. The other thing would be diversification of supply chain. So you have a little motor, but you have two places to get the motor, that kind of thing. because there's a lot of geopolitical risk out there right now. So again, you're in a product area that maybe is not as sensitive to that, but it's certainly something to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's a thing I've done a lot of research in and discovered that I'm living in the world I was raised in, and there's really only one place to go for manufacturing right now. So
yeah, and I think that there's probably going to be tax incentives too for you to do that. If you bring that into the United States. That's great. What's the name of the product and the website so people can see?
yeah, so the product is the Mist One. It's and it's at zephyrafans.com, ZEFRAFANS.com. We're on a pre-sale right now.
He cut out. He's on a pre-sale right now. There we go. You cut out, Scott. Zephyrafans.com, ZAFRAFans.com. All right. This is Scott. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
No, we're gonna have to lose you here, but I appreciate it.
Hello?
Yeah, you're breaking up. Yeah, really bad. Sounds like you're on the moon. So.
Okay.
I appreciate it though, but at least you're able to
on
tell
this.
us. Yeah, congratulations on getting to that point. That's amazing.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you. All right, perfect. We've had some good calls today so far. This is great.
Good.
Jason, how are you doing? All right? You like this, booby?
Good.
All right. Yeah, people are back to school now. People are serious.
Are they?
Well, I don't know, but we'll see.
Never take yourself too seriously.
No,
Sal.
never. Well, sometimes I do, but anyway, this has been amazing. One of the going into this right now, I think you're starting. I think the playing field has changed and it's more favorable towards the angel investors today, like you. I think you're starting to see the repricing of capital that way. People, I think they're starting to learn more about it. I think some people have lost some money. They went to school, they paid tuition, but I also feel as though that people don't want to get into later stage stuff anymore right now.
So there's
Is that true? Okay.
There's this thing called the venture capital winter that's been going on, which is all the late stage money, the big monies that are coming after you're a 5-year-old company or something like that. And what's happened with Angel, which is again, Angel's sort of that, you got some money from your mom, and now you need to have money from somebody.
You tapped out of friends.
You tapped out.
You got your million. That's it.
Yeah. And
go ahead, continue. Can you help us with this, Stephanie? Thank you.
But just to finish the thought, so
Yeah,
I think
do.
if you kind of step your way through the funding story, angel investment has stayed pretty active, despite the ups and downs.
It's most stable. Yeah,
very stable.
I agree with that. All right, we got Ray here. Ray, welcome to Funding Fridays. Happy Friday. How are you?
Salvatore, thank you. Appreciate that.
Great. You can call me Sal. Anyway,
Sal, okay.
Tell us about yourself. You're calling from where? I don't see any.
I'm out of Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, nice.
Yes.
Very cool. Go Bears. Football season's around.
We like the Bears.
No, I
don't speak for this table.
I don't. Okay, well,
the Bears are okay.
I go Lions.
Go
Fins,
Lions. Go Dolphins. We're in Florida.
Go team. Anyway, it's my show. Ray, what's going on?
Yes.
What can we do?
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I'll take a few minutes here to share with what we're involved in, what I do. I have a company called Terra Firma Foods. And within that company, there are 6 other companies in energy, soil, seeds, building products, and regenerative products, as well as leasing. And the reason those companies were created is to feed the whole. And the whole is another company called AgTech Parks. And AgTech Parks is about 100-acre parcel that's got 6 different growth methodologies in there. Growing mushrooms, produce, tomatoes, strawberries, and also a 10,000 square foot lab on it. And all the purpose behind this is the outcome of it. Once it's built, we can produce about 3 million pounds of food per month in the greens area and food that people regularly eat. The difference is we produce our own soil, we customize our own seeds. And what we're trying to accomplish is that we have the cleanest food that is possible within an indoor environment or even farming environment today, because a lot of the soil is dirty and all the seeds are dirty. But if we can accomplish this, and our intentions are to build 50 of these in the United States, one in each state to begin with. And because we're aligning ourselves with the future farmers of America. And then also overseas, there's opportunity over there, as you probably all well know, for different types of food mechanisms and internals. I think the real key advantage we have is being in soil, managing it ourselves. We have no pesticides or bugs inside. It's a controlled environment. We have our own building products that are good for minus 150, plus 150 degrees. It's soundproof, hurricane proof, and windproof.
So can I slide a question in?
Sure, go ahead.
So I heard that you have a half a dozen companies.
Yes.
And so I have a question there, but the first question is, do you have a core, I'll call it a core technology that's at the center of all of this? Meaning, I basically have a mechanism for creating great soil, or do you have a mechanism for creating great seeds? What exactly is?
What are you selling?
What are you selling at the base? Because it sounds like you're then elevating that up into different uses. Is kind of how I heard it, with a building on the side. Can you put it?
Oh, that's completely opposite of that.
Okay.
The core is to grow produce. The reason I have these other companies is because we are producing our own soil and blending it and our own seeds. But if you look at the marketplace, if you go to Home Depot right now, you pay $19 for a tomato plant. And what we're going to want to do is, maybe not today, but over time, is sell our products through Home Depot as another income stream.
And how much are you yielding now? What are your annual sales for all of this?
I've been pursuing this for 5 years. I've had different amounts of money come to me, and it's the dollar amount keeps on growing. I've had as much as $2 billion offered to me, but a lot of catches. Go ahead.
So basically what you have a facility. It's got a hydroponic infrastructure, special light, special food, special soil.
Terraponics. Let me correct that for a second. Terraponics, soil. Okay. Yes.
I'm a telecom guy, so it's all.
It's all relative.
Be gentle.
Yeah, I'm a software guy. What? But so you basically you're integrating lots of technologies into a building, and you're doing very efficient growing, and then using distribution, and it can be to different. I'll call it different channels, for lack of a better word. So I'm just trying to get my arms around what your business is from a structure standpoint.
Well, the business is produce.
Right.
And so we have our own energy. We have waste to clean energy. It takes 18 tons of waste a day. We can produce 10 million kilowatts annually. Because if you look at the food industry, I don't know if you looked at it before, anybody on this call, but the challenge has always been water and energy. Cities want them there, but it puts a big drain, just like the data centers put a big drain of electricity. So does indoor farming.
And so if I were to say to myself, okay, I'm being my investor Ron going on here, but it's like,
okay, Mark Cuban,
I know.
Go on.
Yeah, I run a Shark Tank, so it comes natural. But so okay, I can go to Home Depot and buy a tomato plant, and I can buy it from you. The cost difference is what, and what the margin difference is what?
My reference to the tomato plant is it shouldn't cost $19 for a tomato plant. Number one. So number two, we're not going to sell tomato plants. We're going to be selling tomatoes. We're going to grow tomatoes. Okay. We're going to grow strawberries.
So same question with tomatoes then. So not the plant, but so I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, you're going to have. It sounds like you have an advantage. Very efficient.
I'm going to, if I may, just as a journalist, can you explain what you do in one sentence to a 12-year-old? That's a great piece of advice. That is a great piece of advice. It's called the elevator pitch, if you will. But if investors and journalists have short attention spans.
I know that.
Can you explain what you do in one sentence to a 12-year-old?
Indoor farming in soil. Clean, clean, clean.
Okay. And so are you,
I don't know if that helps you or not.
Are you generating revenue right now do you have any operations currently?
We do not.
Okay. All right.
If you look at the last 5 years, this audience, there's a lot of moving parts here. We have our own water now. We have our own energy. We have our own building products company. We have seeds we can reproduce through our science and using CRISPR and some genetic splicing and those type of things. Customize our own trays. 5 inches, 12 inches, 21 inches deep. If you go to anybody else in that industry, typically their trays are 4 inches deep and they're 2 foot by 4 foot. Now, someone made them bigger because they want to grow more food.
So,
What I did, go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, I'm kind of picking up on your thought. Is one of the things that you forced me into when you introduced the company was, I'm not sure I quite understand, so I'm trying to get you to frame it. And so I think the entry point is that idea is we're growing tomatoes better, right? Is your lead. And someday it could be strawberries for all we care, right? But it's that, and now you're backing out into lots of technologies. And so as an investor, I'm going, okay, I've got water things, I got energy things, I've got this, I've got that. And also I heard that there's multiple companies, which meaning I started thinking to myself, I wonder if there's intellectual property there that I have to start sifting through. And so you've come at this in a very complicated way where you should, I think, use journalistic wisdom here. Push.
I will not give you funding, but I will give you journalistic advice.
So, but the idea is you need to open that up and grab the narrative to say, yeah, I actually have a way that I can compete on tomatoes. That is hot, and
clean,
and it checks a whole
and
bunch
non-cancer causing.
Yeah, there we go. And so that idea is a good starting point, and then everything else falls away. It's like, how do you get a better tomato at less ecological impact and or lower cost?
Yeah,
all the other stuff just adding to that.
Couple things. One, most produce brought in this country is, which is 60% imported, is 1,500 miles away from the furthest point. So if you cut something in 1,500 miles away, it's going to take at least 10 days to get here to where their destination is. And that's to the ports, let alone go into the Midwest as an example. By the time you get to the grocery stores, 55% of it's dead.
We got 45 seconds left. How can we help you?
I got a pitch deck that shows we need $45 million for Ag Tech Park.
So you need the real estate build out is what you need.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough for my group as an angel investor. That's hard.
Yeah, that's a development deal.
That's a real estate development deal. I'm a telecom guy. Did I mention that?
Yeah. That's a real estate development guy.
And so that asset is there's a whole world in real estate investment asset that you'd have to work through more than the venture. The venture capital is going to come in and say, okay, you got a building. Now you got a business. Let us invest in the business and find a way to lease the building. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how that would go.
That's amazing. All right. Cool. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Perfect. All right. This is great. All right. I think we got time for one more call, Jason. Is that all right with you? We'll do that. Yeah. I mean, I think people today, you're starting to get into this, like these silos of people. Like you see it on like the website, like Zero Hedge is selling their own meat now. Like it's just people want to get back into like, food that they see as though is not, part of the, the food supply that we're seeing right now, which I think it really is a problem to the country, to be honest with you. If you look at just general health, I was in Europe last summer, I can tell you the food is much different there. Didn't gain any weight. Here we got donuts. Right, Jen? We got
First of all, I've spent many summers abroad, overseas. Thank you. But I do agree. They have a lot more restrictions on food, especially in Italy, where you haven't been, Sal, and you're Italian.
We're going to talk about that later. That is not the appropriate place for that conversation, but it makes thank you, Jennifer.
You can't throw the punch and not take it.
I get it. I get it. No, but I think you're starting to see like people start doing their own
more health conscious
food sourcing.
But did you like what I said about if you can't explain it to a 12-year-old in a single sentence?
Yeah, that was confusing when I heard.
A lot of finance majors are all they're 13-year-olds anyway.
They are.
But there's also a lot of amazing entrepreneurs out there with like my brother being one of them with like world-changing ideas, but it's all about how you package it and how you sell it,
It's not
they don't know how to articulate it or,
And again, it really comes back to if you can articulate something very clearly, as an investor, what confidence do I have that you're going to actually suddenly become a great communicator?
That's the whole point of it. Yeah, if you're not a communicator at first, you're not going to turn into one overnight. I've seen that happen before, and people just have like diarrhea mouth. I can't tell you. I've been to many of these conferences, in Miami, Florida, and you meet someone at Emerge and he's telling you about what he did in the 70s. I'm like, all right, by the time, he's like, and then in 92, I'm like, just tell me what you're doing now. Like, I want to know what's going on now. And he's just going on and on. He's
You
got
should
bad
put timers
breath.
on people. Like you could just
I
have
do that.
timers.
I just have no patience anymore. I'm like, come on. Let's,
Remind me to never pitch to you, by the way.
Don't. It's not. Not fun.
Short patience.
You might wind up in tears after. I'm not as nice as Ron, but anyway.
Or you can do the Mr. Wonderful, you're dead to me.
Yeah. You're dead to me. It's when you look at these guys, do you know how much money they have spent or invested? I think Mark Cuban lost like $90 million investing in these Shark Tank companies.
Yeah,
but he's famous. Yeah, he's famous. But like those
He's also a self-made billionaire investor and sold the Dallas Mavericks. And Brian Cuban, Mark Cuban's brother, if you're watching, which you probably are because you follow me, we love you. We love Dallas.
Yeah. I love Dallas real estate, but I mean that's a lot. That's a lot of money. $92 million just flushing it down the toilet. Does that really make you a good investor?
It's pocket change for a guy like him.
It's
I know. I
would say this, to founders.
Why not buy a yacht? Like honestly,
I get
why not?
it. I mean, I would. That's what I would do.
As a founder, I have, having brought a young company up and sold it and stuff. Great admiration for somebody who's going to do it. And it doesn't matter really your background if you have a compelling narrative and you have a business that can be designed to survive. And so, I think that it's a huge motivation. The way to escape, salary world is to get leverage on your own time. And you get that by starting a company, but it has to be a good idea. And you have to look for the, all of the
problems
and problems that need to be solved. And actually, to your point, I mean, the first thing you listen to is what do you make and why would somebody write a check for it? Start right there, because everything else is execution. If you need to be able to sell that story that says, hey, this will demand attention from people because.
And that's Jennifer, that's great. This will command attention from people because of that. What's coming back lately, Ron? SPACs.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Our SPAC king is back. I can't believe it or not. We would not invest in a SPAC. We never invested in a SPAC. We would never start a SPAC.
But share the why. You can't just throw a comment out like that and not share,
There's many different ways, but they were great wealth creation mechanisms for certain individuals, right? And because they were structured in a way where it was almost like all these things come out of Wall Street. If you remember the pipe deals, they were like blank check deals.
Was this before I was born?
Yeah. This is before you were way before you were born. But now the SPACs are coming back where you just pay fees, but it's indiscriminate and it's pooled together and it's I think 23andMe went public through a SPAC and it just through Richard Branson. And when I heard that, I just knew it was going to be a failure. It was just.
But for folks who know what a SPAC is.
Yes, thank you.
It's basically you.
I was literally just about to define it.
Well, why don't you define it? You're
the finance guy.
A SPAC is an entity that's put together in order to be able to buy companies, and it's usually the knock against it is very top heavy, where there's a lot of fees and incentives that go to the managers rather than in a conventional fund structure. It goes towards the the sponsors and the managers, irregardless sometimes of the performance of the underlying funds or not the underlying funds, but the underlying companies underneath that. And I think a lot of, I saved some friends of mine because SPACs were being used at the time for roll-ups, if you remember. And people were trying to roll up all these insurance companies. I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's going to really work out well for you. And you're also like contingent upon the daily price of that, of that publicly traded SPAC.
Also increased SEC scrutiny.
Yeah, there's increased SEC scrutiny, and I think that's because a lot of guys made, just basically sandbagged and fleeced a lot of investors. Really, the technical structures change with each SPAC, but it's sort of like, give me money, we're investing in these things, don't ask questions, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we're gonna try to find a way through an exit through the public markets at some point in the future, and that usually doesn't happen to the benefit of the investors and the SPAC.
But better alternatives exist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because let's just think in terms of like New World Angels members, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have all these high net worth folks, and they have all these things they could invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And early stage where I live is one of the, I'll call it asset classes,
It is.
categories.
Yeah.
It's very early, and there's two ways you can do it. SPAC's going to be later. You're further down the road. You're going to try to SPAC.
Mhm.
But yeah, one is you can go into a venture fund, which is the early stage company version of a mutual fund.
Okay. Yeah.
For lack of a better description of
Closed end. Yeah.
it's all closed,
Yep.
closed end, and you basically go in and drop your money and forget it. And 7 years later, they'll tell you how they did.
I
Yeah.
Owwll Angels is quite different.
Okay.
So for every company that comes into our group, we actually do a capital call.
Mhm.
So, and we pass the hat.
On
It
the
can be
come. Yep.
mandatory.
Yep.
So it can be we can call it mandatory from our members, whatever, but we put it in. But the other thing we do is angel syndicates are all either working executives or semi-working.
Mm.
And
this is working,
yeah.
kind of.
Is it really? Oh,
I
cool.
mean,
this is my favorite job then.
yeah.
But so you basically drop that all in, but then we are going to go in and say we're taking a board seat.
Yeah.
So because the rule is, and actually the data for early stages, if you can follow your money with a relevant executive into that early stage company, you multiply its chances of success.
Correct.
So we're very much an operating focus, operating people, not finance majors.
We're not. Yeah.
I have a quick question on early stage tech funding. May I ask?
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask a
Yes,
question?
you can.
Should I call on the Owwll app
No.
that's live streaming from my phone? No, but I think our viewers and listeners would agree. And if you're watching and you have an idea, given how much the funding landscape has shifted over the years and with AI reshaping nearly every sector, what qualities do you think truly distinguish an early stage tech founder, versus those who burn out chasing just like the latest trends? Like, gosh, I could think of a million companies. None are coming to mind right now, but what do you look for?
Big market, transformative idea,
Yeah.
and a founder who can talk.
Yeah. A founder who can talk is the most important thing.
I'm for hire.
You got to think about it. No.
I'm kidding.
You bet on the jockeys, never the horses, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
you've
true.
seen this a lot of people doing this before. Yeah. Yeah, you can. And I think, when you have a founder that's dynamic and he comes from somewhere and he can talk and he instills confidence, that gets me excited.
But actually, but let me put, there's such a thing as too much of that, which would be somebody who is.
Can you give me an example of a CEO? I can think of a few.
Yeah, Jason.
Pitch man.
Jason's there all the time.
The interesting thing would be the most compelling, the most compelling founders coming at us are teachers.
Yeah.
Meaning not a school teacher, but meaning somebody who their whole vibe is, I know something about underwater basket weaving.
You can explain it to a 12-year-old.
And they explain it well. And they're like, oh, because investors don't know anything in the sense that we're coming in cold. Right. We're coming in cold all the time. And so the fact that you have somebody who's engaging. Now, if you have too much of a pitch event style, all the deflector shields go up, right? Because most people are business executives in our group. And they're all looking around going, I'm getting pitched, deflector shields. Right?
Yeah, well, can I add to that? So as a journalist, I'm inundated with pitches, right? Get our CEO on your national program. But if it doesn't stand out, I have to go through my own special vetting process in a way.
I think
it just makes it harder.
Yeah, I think you can sense too with the maturity. Like we have a founder that was one of the youngest teams ever to receive FDA approval for an artificial defibrillation device.
Wow.
At the age of 29. But the maturity on these guys out of MIT were just second to none.
Yeah.
They were just second to none. And we really appreciated that.
Hi, Jason.
Hi,
Jason,
guys.
welcome.
Okay, slide
How are we
over.
doing today? Come on over.
I shut off the phone lines. That was the last call.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to come in for the final 5-6 minutes at the end of the show.
Yes. Jason, what are we talking about here? What do you think about today's show?
It's a big day for us.
It is.
We have approximately 10,000 people on the platform. That's
wow.
why these gold letters, people watching live can't see it, but look at our Instagram story. We're about to hit 10,000 profiles on the platform.
That's incredible for an app. That's really incredible.
And it's important to
take
into account that we bootstrapped this thing. Right? We were very, very unique how we bootstrapped it. I gave the developer a percentage of the equity for a discount to build Owwll and maintain Owwll. And we got to 10,000 because of relationships, right? And it's so important when you're building these products that you don't just chase capital, pitching. It's those relationships that happen at FU Tech Runway, at the Levan Center of Innovation, or your typical networking event, and then coming through genuinely just saying, hey, this is what I'm building. And then naturally people are downloading your app and then referring people and just sticking with it, right? It's been a lot of ups and downs through the last 3-4 years. Ron Tarro was my lead mentor at FU Tech Runway, and he beat me up, Sal. He beat me up.
See that.
First day,
I can see that.
I was like, okay, what are we doing here? And he's like,
numbers.
They were like, pitch me. And I was like, what?
He
I'm
did
like,
well.
whoa,
Look at where we are
whoa.
today.
But it's been a fun journey, right? It's not usual where you're in one business and then you swap to a tech business, and then you have to learn the ropes. Like you guys were talking about safe notes and venture capital. I'm a financial advisor, right? And
Hey,
you've been on television.
You've been reinvented, my friend.
From the second you enter that world,
you just described my show in a nutshell.
It is a whole different animal. That's why as they're talking, you're looking, you're like, you feel like you know a lot, but then all of a sudden it's a whole new lingo. Correct, Jennifer?
Absolutely. And I think there are certain critical moments in life where individuals get a chance to take a negative or traumatic experience and turn it into something positive that can make a difference in the world.
Yes.
I think you are very much on the cutting edge with doing this whole operation here. And, when you have the strength and belief to put yourself out there at a personal expense, even, that has the power to change the world.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But I also think we helped a lot of people too.
Very
Jennifer.
Sorry.
Luckily, it wasn't 18 minutes.
But I think also the impact you've had too, with like even that person Meredith was calling up as a founder. She didn't know what kind of instrument to use, and that could either turn off repel funding like bug spray, or it could attract funding.
Hey, we all have to start at that step where we have to ask that question. So you got to give her kudos for jumping onto a live podcast, never using Owwll before, and calling into a live show to put herself out there and be vulnerable, right? Knowing that thing's being recorded and asking about basic instruments to raise capital.
And
right?
Jen's million followers on Instagram.
It's not a million, it's 100,000.
It's still a lot.
We'll get there though.
We'll get there. No, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to like you're Ron. Say hi to all the. Well, we know you're not on Instagram, but you're on it. If you know what I mean.
What did you say
you're
before
on
the
it.
call? You're like, Ron's like, what's Instagram?
He's a tech CEO. He's like, what's Instagram?
Here's what you do.
What is that little app that Facebook acquired?
Whenever there's a new app, I would download it and get a profile, and then I have so many channels coming at me already.
Oh god,
I get that.
I'm just like I never went
subscriptions.
The WhatsApp spam, the WhatsApp spam.
Yeah. I'm still never going to stop, Ron. I'm going to keep saying that every Friday. Just put yourself available for an hour and tell all your community that they could call you there on a basis.
I do it.
Jack your price up to like $20, $30 for 10 minutes, and then only the people that are serious are going to call in to really pitch you at that rate.
So the argument would be, if I set my price at 30, that's like 2 glasses of wine nowadays.
I think of things in terms of wine glasses too, and Louis handbags. That's great. Yeah.
But
he's telling you to do it at a Louis handbag price, because you're only going to attract serious people.
Yeah,
right?
because already if you start going to like $500 for 10 minutes, right? When you look at the market data at apps like Connect and Intro, they're failing. Right. So
is Intro failing? I had no idea.
Well, I could just suspect based on the amount of reviews left on the platform and the experts that are on there and how many calls they get at the high price levels. Right. They could be profitable. I'm not sure. Patrick,
are you going to be sued for defamation? We don't know.
Well, they have not captured.
No, Owl's taking over. Everyone download the Owwll
haven't
app.
captured the larger market. There's not a million people doing.
You know what it kind of reminds. You know what it reminds me of, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know enough about it. Is it kind of like a Cameo for professionals?
Yeah, I mean, people have said Owwll's is if LinkedIn and Cameo had a baby.
I love that.
But it's a networking event in your pocket at all times, right? Like you could open up Owwll on your commute home, right, for an hour and call 3-4 people.
I do it.
Where on those other platforms you can't do that.
Right. Okay.
And
you can set office hours.
And what people miss the boat with Owwll is it's not about the revenue from the actual calls. We had somebody last year who helps people get on public stages, and she made $70,000 through Owwll. Right. She sets her rate at like $3-4.
Yeah.
Because she used the power of her voice. And at that point, she can convince somebody to jump on a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting. And then she's charging them $10,000 if they sign up to fully do the course to help them,
Right.
get on stages and really make money. And she's got proof that her systems work, of course. And we have folks like Forbes Riley, right? Forbes just was on a Zoom with our team yesterday with about 50, 60 people. She's leading our 30-day hard challenge. And she's the queen of pitch. And she's been in the studio for the last Funding Fridays. And she could prove that, cost is extremely important, not to price yourself out of the market, right? So often, for example, Ron could price himself out of the market and do $500. And there's so many startups out there
That's dinner, drinks,
but
party at Ron's.
but he doesn't care about $500. What he really cares about is that the calls that come in.
I think I've lightened Ron up a bit. What do you think?
Yeah.
I
ready
think
for this.
so.
The calls that came in today, like if his price was $30, $40, he'll get the best calls.
More time on the Owwll app, aren't you?
Listen, can I say I have office hours? You can
You do.
contact me. I had somebody contact me just yesterday. They contacted me on the Owwll app. They said, "Hey, I want to start a podcast," and I basically gave them my whole podcasting for dummies spiel.
But see, and if you were charging too high of a rate, that opportunity would not have come.
I don't know what.
So I think there's
my
just this
rate is.
this in between rate of what is the cost and what are the opportunities at that.
Can I
cost
ask
from
one
it.
uncomfortable? Sorry, can you tell I'm a journalist? I ask
Yes.
questions. No, but this is
Get
a great
uncomfortable.
one. People out there who are watching and listening who don't maybe feel comfortable putting up a value or a price on themselves. I'm one of them.
Sure.
Like, how do you judge that for people out there who have a lot of who want to join the Owwll app? Like, do they,
Honestly,
what's a good strategy?
It's often egos in their way, right?
Okay.
And I'll use my financial service business as an example.
Okay.
So often people are learning through social media to say no all the time, right? And they're not opening up enough doors. But in financial services, you want to speak to a lot of people who have a lot of money.
Right.
Right. So people in my shoes would go on meetings on purpose, realizing, okay, I could see their zip code. I'm not naive. If you live in St. Andrews in Boca Raton, like, don't sell yourself short where you're going to lose the meeting. You want to make sure you just get the meeting at their home or your office. If you know that they live in a home that's 2 million plus, for example, and then at that point, you have to use your voice to of course, be knowledgeable, trustworthy to then do work with you. So
I also
often,
really like that you guys only do voice and not visual,
Thank you.
because I can't tell you how many times I've been contacted on the Owwll app, and I'm like,
well, that's
You mean you don't wake up like that, Jennifer?
I do, Sal,
Okay.
but I don't want to do it in my pajamas, Sal.
Well, I think that's an important part. Is why we
can I brush my teeth?
Like, this is why we pivoted to networking versus when we launched. It was one-on-one advice instantly, right? Ron knows it more on that level. And then I realized that we had to pivot. People wanted to communicate on a regular basis to network, which is why people say it's LinkedIn on steroids. People are sick of the DMs.
Yeah.
They get frustrated. They don't know who's real, who's not. So what they do, they just let them fly in and ignore them. But now you're giving them an opportunity. Like, hey, if you really want to speak to me, you can find me on the Owwll app at this rate. And then you priced yourself. And then
there you go.
And then people have to just check their ego at the door, right? Hey, you're a lawyer. I understand you charge $800 an hour. But in this case, this is networking.
Just and time is money.
And at networking event, you pay a fee at the door.
Yep.
Then you go in, and you're not like sorry, I'm $800 an hour. I'm a lawyer. No, you are open to conversations. But with Owwll, what's so unique is we have real stories where an example would be a 16-year-old downloaded Owwll 3 months ago and literally called somebody who had 1 million followers on Instagram, who was in a ribbon cutting ceremony with celebrities in California. Him and his dad jumped on a plane the next day and flew out there.
Let's go.
And then they're working together right now. And
you're changing lives.
They have a nonprofit in Florida. And ready for this? It was never about the price. That guy was $10.
Yeah.
1 million followers.
Yeah.
And now, but he actually, I can't disclose how much he's charging them, but the person in California is charging them a decent amount of money to be a client because they're helping them with market. And this nonprofit is now growing. And that same person who's 16 years old has like 90 calls on Owwll, became an Owwll brand ambassador. And how cool is this? They're running a pickleball event in the state of Florida in a couple of months.
I play pickleball.
Partnered with a pickleball company, right? That was on Owwll. This guy owns a paddle company.
I remember him.
You know,
I remember
Jason
him. Yeah.
Called into the show.
Yes,
So
yes.
so what people are missing the boat with Owwll is the money makes no difference. Like we would hope that we would do 1 million calls.
But you
a
just
day
answered
at
my
$1.
question. So you buried the lead. You just answered my question in a single sentence. It doesn't matter about it doesn't matter about what price you set it at because you can miss out on somebody.
2 glasses of wine. Actually.
Ron really wants those 2 glasses of wine.
Well, what kind of wine though? I mean,
when does the charcuterie come out?
Yeah, when is
Are we like having a happy?
That's after
happy hour. Okay.
That's after hours.
Yeah, it's
almost-
1:30 p.m.
It's boat,
Jen.
it's
Relax.
Friday. We get to happy hour in about 30 minutes.
I bet you've never had a show like this before. I don't know.
Over 300 episodes on the shrimp.
Oh wow! Oh wait, yes.
Close to,
yeah.
You know, another 100 or so.
But this is
here at the
Funding
studio.
Fridays.
This is only the 4th show.
I love
Funding
this.
Fridays.
This is so much
But this
fun.
one is unique. I mean, we're getting really great callers to come in, and
good.
as we keep expanding this month to month, I mean, this is
So one of the things I do is that on LinkedIn, I have an assistant, and I said anytime he wants to pick my brain, just have him, click on the Owwll app, and then it sort of like puts the boundaries of the relationship there, so you don't get these, stuck with these wide open questions, right? Like,
sure,
like some of our callers in the past. Which I really like too. And then also I just democratize it on the email. So we're going to be sending out a high profile video that we recorded yesterday going into our first real estate deal. And I say, hey, PS, if you want to talk to me about this, go to the Owwll app.
There we go. And go on offense. You run a podcast. You can find excellent guests.
Yes,
we
you
were at
can.
Podcast Expo. There's hundreds of people on the app. And a lot of people always think, what is it going to do for my business? But look at just the other side. The PR opportunities.
Yep.
People are hosting events. You could call them and ask them if they need a panelist.
Yeah.
But also your life, right?
Yeah.
I think people skip out on.
Hey, a lot of CEOs have contacted me for media coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And you got Forbes Riley on there. You could call her. She's the queen of pitch. And
better bring
she's
a
pretty
Snickers bar.
reasonable.
I'm a pretty good pitcher too.
You are. You are. Both of you are.
Both of those two on the
But
show.
Rennie,
would be
sometimes you want to
amazing.
call a nutritionist, a
Yeah.
dietitian, a
Yeah.
sleep expert, and people miss out on that. It's not just what it could do for your business, it's what it could do for your life because you could access these people in real time. So I always relate to access equals opportunities. That's the big thing.
That's
I agree.
really profound.
Yes.
That's great.
Okay. Let's
I
get
think-
all New World Angels on this app for Funding Fridays, Ron. Are we doing this? We're gonna get them all on there. So that way every Funding Fridays.
So if I did it every day of the week, that's 2 glasses of wine every day.
I know.
I'm being nice. I'm spotlighting.
There used to be something called, and Bill Scholes, if you're watching, hi. If there's used to be something called the Compound Media Network.
Sure.
I'm not in that category. They believed in having liquor on set at all times because they just felt it made for more interesting broadcasting. So that might be a little tidbit you want to consider.
That's funny.
Joe Rogan and Elon Musk were smoking weed.
That's Funding Fridays after dark.
Yeah, that's Funding
Oh,
Fridays
after dark. That
dark.
sounds a little.
He's coming back later tonight.
That
I'm gonna
sounds
come
like-
back later
that
tonight,
sounds
8
like-
p.m. Hey.
No, I will not be here.
No, I tell you what, I mean, New World, what's the interest of an angel syndicate always, or any early stage investor, which would be finding young founders with promise, right? And so, it's having, I'll call it information distribution or teaching. Because the other side of this is by talking with young founders coming into this podcast, if they're smarter, it makes it easier for us to actually evaluate them.
Yeah.
And so, it is something we should be doing. There's actually 2 sides of the coin. One is finding the investors who basically don't want, they don't have all the knowledge to do an early stage, structure, but they have maybe some domain experience.
Yeah.
So there's investors on one side and there's founders on the other, and both of them are extremely valid.
I'm just going to leave with one last final thought on that. If you can't explain your company in a single simple sentence, you're not ready for national press. I'm just going to give you the hard truth because you got to think less MBA and more dinner table conversation. And I think that's lost on a lot of founders. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, that's the rule of politics too, right?
Yeah, but if you're into that kind of thing.
No, I'm not. But I remember when Bush and Gore were running, and they came down to who would you want sitting in front of dinner, having dinner with would you have Al Gore or Bush? And I've seen Bush W speak. I'd rather have Bush. He's a fun guy. He's a Yahoo.
He
Is it really
paints.
good? Yeah, he paints, but he gave a great speech at a conference I was at one time. Jason, how do we do today? What do you think?
We did great.
All right.
Why don't you take us home? Wrap the show up.
I want to thank everybody for being on here. We'll be here a month from now. Please stay tuned to your emails, smoke signals, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere that you find the Owwll app. I'll be on the Owwll app later this afternoon into tonight too as well after my call a little later. But after that, we're always available for you. Please send this to your friends. The virality of this is very important, especially for people today who need entrepreneurial help and advice, as we've heard from some of the people today. I'm very fortunate to be here with Jason Hill and Ron and Jennifer. So this has been a great day. And I think Jennifer is ready to go to happy hour now. So we'll just let it go.
Man.
All right. 2 glasses of wine for you, Ron. That was
We're
great.
opening up the channel at the bar. And it's going to be.
We're going to carry the mics equipment out of here.
See everybody.
Oh, my
All right. Hey, I got